Hey guys, Chance Williams here. Today I'm going to show you some tips and tricks on testing circuits for starters and alternators. Starters and alternators, after doing a little bit of research, seems to be one of the highest returns that parts stores are seeing across the nation. I guess sometimes it's easier to go and say, hey, a starter's not working, an alternator's working, and just go and throw one in it. I guess that's the fastest way to do it to me. That seems like a lot of work. If you have to do the work, do it. But if you don't have to do the work, don't do it. Do the easiest stuff first, they always say. What does electricity do? It takes the quickest path to ground. So today I'm going to show you guys a couple of simple little tricks to do. I'm going to walk you through it, show you how to do it, and it's pretty daggum simple. So what I'm getting at is do your testing before you start replacing parts, because I promise you, if I was an independent and owned an auto parts store, or even an auto repair parts store, and you come and bought an alternator starter for me and I check it and I don't see nothing wrong with it, you're not getting your money back. But luckily y'all have the leniency of Advanced Auto Parts and AutoZone and O'Reilly's, that their no return policy is just here to bring it back to us. We'll take it and swap it. But the blunt end of it is the people on the back end, the people who are building this stuff, that are getting slammed with all these returns, are finding out there's absolutely nothing going on with their vehicles, period. Or not with their vehicles, but with the components that they're selling. What they're coming to find out is that one of the most common problems with alternator systems are actually the drive belts themselves. So the drive belts themselves, I suggest y'all take off and go over to your parts store, get a little gauge, because you really cannot tell by looking at the grooves on the belt whether they're good or not. So the alternators themselves actually will, a slipping belt will actually cause the main shaft to heat up and the bearing to heat up with it, and next thing you know, you got a premature failure on an alternator you just installed. Now guess what? Yep, you just got a comeback coming in the shop that's going to waste time, and you're going to be scratching your head going, well, I guess it's just a bad component. Well, that junky Duralast, that junky Advance, oh, this is all a piece of junk. You just go and install it and stick it in your car and it's just a piece of junk. That ain't how this works, guys. These manufacturers are doing their very best up till, now I will say up till COVID hit, they were doing a really fine job. I purchased a lot of brand new alternators and brand new starters, and I have yet to have one come back on me for a starting or charging issue, because I take a few minutes just to do a few tests just to make sure that I am good and sound. Now, there's a bunch of benefits to doing these voltage drop tests to make sure that there's no unwanted resistance in the circuit. It's going to keep your ECMs happy, all your control modules, TCM, airbag, heated steering wheel control modules, all of them very, very happy if they have the proper voltages to supply to them and keep them functioning like they're supposed to. Now, that's a perfect world almost, right? Do your job. Just do your job, take a few minutes, jump in there with both feet, learn this stuff. If you don't know it, get some tricks and tips from whoever. You know, find the information. I had to learn this information through schooling, through watching other people, through learning from my own mistakes and going from there. Now, the other thing you need to look at is visual. Make sure you don't have misaligned pulleys, no corrosion, no screwed up connectors, broke connectors, you know, those types of things. I have replaced alternators for, as a matter of fact, I just replaced one alternator the other day, a gentleman himself installed. Come to find out, he had the wrong alternator in there. It was an undersized pulley on that booger, and the belt was too daggum long for it, and it was slipping. It didn't last him a week, but anyway, we figured it out, straightened it out, sent him down the road. All right, so it's really simple. Now I'm going to show you a few tricks. Now I'm using really super fancy voltmeter here. It's the Zeus Snap-on. It's a very intelligent, very expensive piece of equipment. Now, I'm gonna tell you one of the things you guys do not do. A lot of you probably make it a habit, but if you ever get bit enough, you make it a habit, and that's to test your leads. So one of the things I'm going to do, and I'm going to show you right now, is we're actually going to go test these leads, and I'm going to go over to my scope, and I'm going to go over to digital meter, and I'm going to go over to ohms, and my scope's pretty much there. We're going to check it by touching the two leads together, and you go, oh, my leads are bad. Oh, wait, let me look over here, because I'm in the wrong channels. because I know you've done it. You screwed up and put your leads in the wrong channel. Now you're showing 0. Perfect. That's the way it's supposed to be. I can calibrate this. I don't know if there's a button on here to calibrate it, but you can calibrate this one. This should show a -2, but I had already turned it on to calibrate it and it went to 0. So either way, I know I got good leads. All right, so then I'm gonna go back to my channel 1 and channel 2, or excuse me, my channel 1 only. Channel 2. Simple test, guys. Very simple. We're going to go into voltage DC. We're going to take one lead. We're going to put it on the positive side cable. Now, the reason I tell you to put it on the cable, don't worry about the post yet. If you put it on the post right now, you're not going to know if you have a problem with this cable. If you put it on the post and you're checking the other end of this positive cable, which this end goes directly over to through this solenoid and over into the alternator. So I'm actually going to touch this lead here, and I have mine set up on millivolts, and I'm going to touch right here on this positive post on the top of this thing. Now I got 1.2 millivolts. I'm showing negative because I have my cables backwards. You're supposed to put your positive on positive, negative on negative, but I'm showing negative. I'm happy with 1.2 volts. If you go to voltage scale, it's going to show 0. Now, you can also go from your post cable that's connected to the battery post itself and to the post itself. I'm showing a dead 0. 1.2 is not nothing in millivolts because of the length of the travel that I'm taking to get over to my alternator. Now, you can also do this, the best way is to crank this vehicle up and then check it, and let's see what we got. Give me just a second. Now, it's really and truly best to check this thing with the truck running or vehicle running to test these leads. We're going to see what we got with it running. All right, I'm showing over. I'm only on a 100 millivolt scale, so we're going to go back in here and we're going to scale this thing to trace. And we're going to go to 500 millivolts and see if we're out. Because I know it's less than that. Let's see what we got here. Make sure you put your scales right. So I got 128.3 millivolts. We're going to scale back again. We're going to go to voltage. Let's go to 1 volt. Let's see what we got on 1 volt scale. 0.12 volt, 0.12 volts, which is fine. That's a few tenths of a vote. I'm very happy with that. With my headlights on, my blower motor going wide open, very happy with that. So then you can come here and test your post lead. From your post to your cable, I got 0.010 volts. That's hardly nothing to worry about. Then we'll come over to our negative side. We'll do the same thing. We'll check it. Negative side is the worst case scenario on where everything usually happens. That is a very, very good reading on a 1 volt scale. Then we're going to come over here to the alternator case. We're still at less than 100 millivolts. That is awesome. That is a very good reading. Now, another way to check your starter is you really need to have somebody with you. Take the positive lead to the positive side of the battery. Take your negative lead, run it down to the case, or excuse me, to the positive side of the starter. Have somebody start the engine. Make sure that you disable the fuel system first. Once you disable the fuel system, it keeps it from starting up. That way you can spin it over and get a decent reading. Now, another way you can do it, if you're very fluent with your meter, you can use a minimum and max feature on there, which is pretty cool. But I'm getting too old to crawl up on this car to really show you what it is, but it's pretty much the same thing. Positive lead to the positive battery cable, and then the positive lead on the starter. Hook both of them up. You should have at least, if you had more than 1 volt, I would probably be concerned with it. Anything under a volt or around a volt, I'm not worried about it either. You do that the same way I just showed you on the alternator. You go from the negative side to the positive side. Check the vehicle while it's starting. So voltage cannot flow while it is not being operated, right? So that's the reason you check it for when you have somebody spin the starter on. Now, I don't expect you guys to go out and get one of these really expensive meters. You probably have access to them, and a lot of technicians that are very good technicians that make very good money can actually afford them. And that way, you do well. You do very well. But that is one of the ways to test a starting and alternator issue first, before you start jumping in and just replacing the parts. If you do that, and you know you got a very good connections at your cables. The other thing you can do when you're testing your battery, you can use a voltmeter just to check the static charge on the battery. Now, they usually say 12.3, 12.6. I think 12.6 is like tops. So we're going to change this sweep trace back to 20 volt scale. We're going to go back, we're going back. Now on our charging system, we got all the loads on, running 1405, which is a very, very good charging system. Working like it's supposed to. Now let me go shut it off. So now that it's off, of course I could discharge this battery for just a few minutes and we could see what the surface charge would actually be. Right now I'm at 12.7, but we just shut the vehicle off. Now I'm going to be honest with you guys. These alternators and starters and stuff that you guys are buying from AutoZone and Advance, I don't know so much sure. I think Advance is triple tested too. They offer brand new components inside and out. AutoZone, O'Reilly's, they all offer them. Now they're built by Tier 1. They're a very good company. I've installed a heap of those starters and alternators. Now you buy whatever you want to buy, but I buy top quality stuff, and I only buy brand new stuff when I can get my hands on it. But it's really simple, really easy to check your circuits. You have your positive and negative. That's going to help you guys out in the long run, and I know it will. And it's really simple. I'm going to put a brief description in the down here somewhere when I post this of how to check it. I may have misspoke. I'm doing this by myself, and it's getting late, and I'm getting tired. So until then, y'all take care.